Hi, welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, we're talking about something that's very, very important, and I need your help. And that is talking about a massive, whoop, don't want to drop that, a massive event that's coming up sooner than you may think, and that is Tamiya's 50th anniversary for the celebration of when they first started doing RC cars. Yep, now I know a few of you are going to go, well, didn't they just drop the 45th anniversary? Well, yes, they did. But time moves on super fast as we age. Yeah, we're all getting on a bit, and time seems to be flying past super quick. But looking at the dates, the 50th anniversary is the 1st of December 2026. But that's ages away. Well, we're almost in 2024, which gives us only 2 years until the kit is released so that we can get our hands on it. So I thought now would be a really good time to send a really clear message to Tamiya not to screw this one up, as it's really important to us Tamiya fans, and that's why I need your help. Now, I've put together what I think would be the perfect 50th anniversary release, and I want you to comment below and try and boost this video, so hopefully Tamiya will watch it and they won't screw it all up for us, because I know a lot of you really want this 50th anniversary to be epic. Now, the market for vintage RC has blown up massively, and as you've seen from the Kyosho 60th anniversary buzz, this is an important car and there's a big market for it. So we want Tamiya to get this one spot on. So I thought I'd put a list together of exactly what I think that if they actually did it would be one of their highest selling units. Yeah, and I'm not even getting commission for this. That's right. So the first thing is the 45th anniversary that came out was the Porsche that they did, and that was pretty successful as it was. But for a 50th, there's a few things that they did that I wouldn't want to see again in the 50th. Now, the first thing would be, what car should it be? And I have to say, after all the years of doing this, the car that every single person really wants to see, this one, obviously the Porsche 959. So a perfect car to be the 50th anniversary. Massively popular. Everybody loves this car. It is one of their icons, so it's a perfect fit. Also, not only that, but in 2026, it's the 40th anniversary of Porsche winning the Paris to Dakar. It's like the planets are all lining up, right? So to celebrate Porsche winning the Paris to Dakar 40th anniversary, Tamiya's 50th anniversary, this should be that car. Now, the next thing that jumps to mind is licensing agreements. And Tamiya has Porsche licensing agreements, as they've just dropped out a 911 GT3 992. So hopefully they can come to an agreement for the 959. Now, one thing we don't know is, does Tamiya still have the original molds for the body and the chassis? Unfortunately, that one we just don't know. That's an in-house secret. I don't think there's ever been anything released on them not having that available. Comment below if you know otherwise, but let's just assume for the sake of it that they have the molds, or they're willing to remold it to actually produce this kit. So the first thing, let's look at the box. Now, I think we can all agree we would love to see on the box the original artwork from the Porsche 959. Going on the way that things change with the cigarette livery, we'll come on to that in a little while, but the box art is there available. They've already modified it so they could use it as well. Ideally, it would be lovely to see some of the Porsche branding on there to celebrate the 40th Dakar, as well as Tamiya's 50th anniversary. Now, Tamiya tend to be pretty good at all their box art. The 45th anniversary one that was done was pretty nice. So I'm pretty sure they could come up with something that we all like from a looks perspective. I would hesitate that they bother to do things like putting it in a bag or anything like that. Better to save that money for other aspects of this kit, I think. Putting a novelty bag around it like they've done in the past or anything like that, I think that's just a waste of money that could be spent in other places. Now, the big one, when you take the lid off the box, this 50th anniversary kit must have blister packs. Yes, they've kind of done away with them a lot, but being that it's a 50th anniversary, we want to see blister kits for this car. That is a non-negotiable thing, gotta be in there. Now, this obviously has a cost implication, but I think that's a better way to go than putting it into a celebration bag or anything like that. Now, let's talk about the kit itself. Well, it has to be the original Porsche 959 chassis. It must be. Yes, it's fundamentally flawed and it has some issues. I'll come on to that in a minute, but it must be this chassis. If Tamiya take this body set and put it onto another chassis, I don't think you're all going to be very happy with it, because a lot of people really like this chassis, me included. I love what they did with this chassis. Even though it was fragile, it doesn't really matter. Now, I'm not saying you can't do anything to this chassis to change it. Definitely could improve the plastics. Also, some of the fragile parts could be beefed up, could be changed to make them stronger. Could also upgrade from maybe some screws to some bolts that takes less pressure off some of the plastics. That's all fine. No one's looking for a direct copy, but we do love this chassis, so we want to see this chassis. We don't want it swapped out for anything else, but we understand that it has some fundamental flaws, but that's partly why we love it. So changing the plastics, doing some composites, more modern plastics would really help, as well as addressing some of the weakness areas by making them a bit thicker. Now, Tamiya doesn't normally do this, but hopefully, being the 50th anniversary, it would be really nice. Now, granted, most of these kits are going to be shelf queens or collectors new in box, but some people want to run these. So we've definitely got to give that option for people that can actually take it out and blast it around and it's just not going to break instantly. Now, obviously this is a Tamiya, so don't expect Traxxas bomb-proof stuff, but some little upgrades to make it a little bit stronger would be nice. If you want to upgrade things like the diffs or any internals, that's totally fine as well. I don't think anyone's going to have an issue with that. And this is something we've seen from Kyosho as well. They keep the outside looking very vintage, but then they upgrade the internals as well. So again, if you do a different diff, not a problem. As for the body, we want it exactly as it is. Yes, it was very fragile back in the day, but now things have improved with polycarbonate work, so there's no real issues with it. It just needs to be exactly the same. As with the spoiler and everything, just keep it exactly the same. Same goes for the cockpit. We definitely want to have a cockpit in this car, and it should just be the same version. Also, for the headlights, keeping them in is a big must as well. Yes, you can change to LEDs instead of little bulbs. That's totally fine, but keep the light buckets exactly as they were. Now, the big one is the decals, and there is a few options available. Now, obviously, we can't do cigarette livery, and no one expects Tamiya to do that, but they have a few options for this kit that they could do. The first one is basically copy what Porsche have just done for their 911 Dakar, which is basically changing the actual decals to rough road instead of Rothmans. That's totally fine. You can do that as well. As long as you keep these livery lines, that's totally fine. Alternatively, if you want to, just release it with the window masks or anything like that and just do the stripes and nothing else. That's totally fine. You could have it white and then just the stripes with the blue on the bottom and white on the top. That's totally fine. I don't think anyone is going to have an issue with that either, as we will sort out our own decals. We don't really care. Alternatively, just don't supply any decals, do it white, and then just do a few of the little window masks and that kind of thing. Again, totally fine. We can deal with it. We totally understand that cigarette livery is a big no-no these days. It was when the original came out, but that's not going to stop people from buying this. But ideally, I think it would be possible to do the 911 Dakar livery basically exactly like that. Another big one is the motor. Yes, it does need to have a motor in this kit. This is a 50th anniversary. It's very special. You need to put a motor in it, and it needs to celebrate the 50th anniversary. Now, what would I do? Well, I would do the RX 540 V2, the Technigold motor. I would reproduce exactly that motor with a sticker on it to celebrate Tamiya's 50th anniversary. Yes, this is going to be expensive, but this is not going to be a cheap kit. I'll come on to the price in a bit. Now, as for the wheels, keep the wheels exactly the same. It's fine leaving them in yellow. Now, I personally have changed mine to white. Yes, Tamiya could do that, but honestly, I think the yellow that Tamiya did back in the day, I can see why they did it. It just spruced up the color a little bit. When they're white, which is more like the original car, it doesn't quite pop. So I can really see why they decided to change it up and make it different from the original car. Personally, if they did white like I have here, that's fine. If they stick with the yellow, totally fine. Now, the original one came with two tyre choices. You had the rally tyres and you had the tarmac tyres. Personally, because this kit's going to get really expensive, if they sold the slick tires, the tarmac tires separately, it wouldn't be an issue. I don't think anyone would mind buying them separately, as some people would want them, some people won't. So I would take them out, sell them separately. Not an issue. Bearings, yes, well obviously it's got to have bearings. You could do what they did with the 45th anniversary and put in a letter from the MD. That's all nice and well. Personally, I think going a little bit above that would be a way to go for a 50th anniversary. Something like a USB, little Tamiya USB with on there a little video that was made from the factory, also covering, talking to the engineers about the car, talking to the original person who drew the artwork, you know, a message from the MD, some kind of media bump from Tamiya. Now, Tamiya obviously released their own videos on YouTube, so they have the people and they have the skills to put out a video. So I think that would be a bit more modern than just a letter. Obviously, there's a price point to this, but it only has to be a very basic USB with just a video on it so that people can actually experience that themselves. Then later on, once all the kits have been sold, they could put the video up on YouTube as well. But I think that would be a nice, more modern version than just a scrolled out bit of A4 paper that's been printed with a letter saying thanks very much. Now, one thing we need to talk about that's not really nice, but it happens, is flipping kits. Yes, taking a anniversary kit and then putting it up on eBay for some extortionate amount of money. So to combat this, I have a few ideas. The first one ties into the whole numbered kit. Personally, what I would do is I would have a sticker on the box that has a sealable plastic front, and what I would do is every kit that goes out doesn't have that sealed, but there's a section on it that has a place where the name of the person who purchased it is written in and then sealed. So when you buy your kit from your Tamiya supplier, they will actually put your name on the box and seal it. Now, that would be quite easy for them to do, and also it hopefully would help stop some flipping because it would have the person's name on it, and if you're looking to buy one, well, then you're going to buy one that's got somebody else's name on it. And I would probably limit it to just one kit per person per transaction to try and calm down things. This is a 50th kit. It's going to be really, really popular, especially if you do what I'm saying. But that would help. Yeah, Charlie agrees as well. That would help to stop this issue because there's so many Tamiya fans that really want to get hold of this. Now, we don't really know how many units you're going to make, but we don't really care. I don't think it would matter if it was one of 3,000, one of 5,000. I just think people like to know that it's a numbered kit, so it's definitely something worth doing. If I could just ask you to take 2 seconds, if you've watched the videos and you've watched a few and you enjoy it, to hit that subscribe button. 58.6% of you that watch the channel aren't even subscribed. It costs you absolutely nothing. And being that we're such a small RC channel, every new subscriber really helps the algorithm find our content and push it out to more RC fans like you. Also, one side of it I think would be really nice is that when you purchase your kit, it comes sealed with your name on it, so the box is also tied to you, so that's another aspect of it. And I don't think it would be too much effort for the Tamiya sellers to just write people's names on it and then seal the plastic on the front. I don't know, comment below, let me know about that one. I don't think it would be very expensive, and it would also be a little bit of a novelty aspect to it. Now we come on to the sticky situation. These are all the things we would love to see, but what are we willing to pay for it? Well, I can't really talk about other countries. I can only really talk about the UK and what I feel that this kit would be worth. Now, if you're going to sell it in the UK for 550 to 600 max, no more than 600, I think it will sell bucket loads. It will sell out instantly. Once you go over that £600 mark, it's starting to feel very expensive. Now, people will say, can comment below, 600 is way too much money, but I think for a 50th anniversary done brilliantly with the motor included, people will save that extra and buy it. If you go over 600, I think people would just go, it doesn't matter what you did, it's just too expensive, and then you're going to lose unit sales. Whereas 550 to 600 is really no more than that. That's what I would say. Now, a lot of you will probably say it's too expensive, but if we want all these nice options in there with this nice motor, we want all the layout, we want all the box design, it's going to cost money. Especially if you want blister packs, as it costs much more money to do the layouts. The boxes tend to be slightly bigger, so the shipping costs, all these things add up. So obviously you can't have everything you want and then expect it for £250. doesn't exist. So we have to be realistic about it. But I think if between 550 and 600, that's about as far as you can push it. Now, granted, the minute these kits all sell out, they're all going to be worth that and more anyway. So yes, it might be a bit of a stretch for you, but you're never really going to lose out, are you? So there you go. That's my idea of how I would produce a Tamiya 50th kit. Now, this is where it comes into you. I need you to comment below, thumbs up, cover this video as much as you can, share this video as much as you can, because we need Tamiya to see this, because all the Tamiya diehard fans I think would really like to see a kit like I've described it. So comment below, and if we can blow this video up a little bit, hopefully Tamiya Japan will see it. Thanks very much. Keep your fingers crossed. 2 years out, hopefully we'll get what we want. See you on the next one. Bye bye.